There's this golden rule in watercolor, and it's what you need to understand to be able to create a successful painting in watercolor. One that has depth and dimension and that is not flat. This answer is work from light to dark. It's a very traditional approach to watercolor, and you use it by building up the color. You start off with your lightest and gradually add the dark colors. Painting like this requires some forward planning. And for most artists who come new to watercolor from other traditional paints like oils or acrylics or even gouache, this process is daunting because you need to think about where your light is, and especially if you're going to leave the white of the paper showing through. So that's why this medium can be challenging. But it's amazing once you get used to it. So this is one of the reasons why you need to think about where your lights are and then work light to dark in your paintings. Watercolor is transparent. And with this transparency, it means that each layer of paint shows the color underneath. So you need to plan where your colors are and allow for this gradual buildup of tones and values. Watercolor also lightens as it dries, so you need to think about this a little bit. If you put down a color and it's a little bit too dark, don't be too frightened because it's going to dry a little bit lighter and you do have some sort of a chance to undo it to a point. Not too much, but enough to kind of fix the problem a little bit sometimes. So for this painting, I thought about this method and I started off with a very light pink and I went in with my basic shape. After that, I added in some more darks, a little bit more dark pink, and I gradually built it up. I worked from light to dark. I made lighter colored brush strokes as the first layers and then built it up to be darker, adding in a little bit of a thicker paint as I went. I also lifted some areas just to make sure that I got a little bit of a difference in my colors as they dried. Lifting adds some characteristics that you wouldn't normally get just by leaving the page blank. And you can get some really nice smudgy results if that's what you're looking for. So as I worked through this painting, adding in different shades as I went along, I even tried a little bit of something new, which you'll see towards the end. So the first layer was my basic shape. Then I added in a little bit of a darker pink just to start adding these tonal values in. And I was very conscious about where I left the lighter colors because I didn't want to have to undo it later. So as I built up these different petals, all I did was went in with a little bit of a darker shade, let it dry in between, and went over it again. And as we add in this pink, you can start to see the layers build up, and it's beautiful. Moving on to the stem, I'm just going to grab a green, add a bit of blue, and create whatever green I come out with, really. And then I'm going to go in and create a simple stem shape. By this point, I'm guessing I'm painting a rose. So my stem is going to have these sharp edges a little bit, as you'll see coming up. Look at that gorgeous green. So using a smaller brush, and here we go with the stem. Just simple, nothing too serious. There's those little straggly bits that end up underneath the rose, holding that bud in place. I'm just going to go in with a single solid green, and I'm going to tap in a darker green shade on one side of the stem, just to create some definition there. I'm not going to paint too much on the stem because I want my focus to be on the flower. The stem is just an added extra. You don't need to put in detail into every single area of your picture. And that's something that I've learned by painting over time. You don't need to have detail in every single area of the painting. Choose one focal point, paint it out, and then move on to the next bit. So this is the part where I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm going to add a little bit of an outline to my petals. I want to see if the edges of my painting are going to show up a little bit better. This might give a little bit of a illustrative quality to the picture, but let's see how it turns out and if the darker edges make it stand out. And here it is. I actually love how it turned out. I love the sharp edges. It just adds that something extra. And I think I might try it again. Thank you so much for watching and following me on another day of this Painting for 30 Days journey. I will see you tomorrow.